Might be a sign that I need some therapy. I'm throwing all these names at you and I'm just like trying to catch them all and not get hit in the head. A lot of trees had to meet their ends for me to make this video. Wow. So for me in the past, if I had read like say 5 books in a month, my mind would have been just like blown by the amount of reading I had done, because I definitely read a lot slower in the past. But this month with reading 8 books, I'm really proud of myself. I'm also really happy that there is this many physical books off the TBR, because if you have been watching my series in the short form content, you will know that my TBR is about over 100 books. I'm not sure now with all of these, but yeah, and I'm trying to get through all of them, which I know will never happen. I know I will never have a TBR of 0 books. I've accepted that, I've moved on, and I'm okay with it. Now, all these books are completely closed door. There was one book I read this month that to me wasn't fully clean by my standards, so I'm not going to include it in this wrap up. So if you're wondering why I've only talked about 7 books instead of 8, that is why. I can count. I just purposely left it out. Do not worry about my mental state. For me, I'm almost still living in September. Like, it doesn't fully feel like October yet, and also my calendar still says September, and it is the 7th when I'm filming this. But anyways, I'm sure you clicked into this video because you were just dying to know what month my calendar was on. So I'm actually going to try and start talking about these books instead of just making a loud noise with them. That was probably really annoying. Okay, the first book that I finished was The Legends of Nesher. This is book 2 of the Redemption Pirate series. It's going to be a trilogy, and I am begging and pleading to please bring out the next book and last book soon, because I need it badly. I will do just about anything for an arc. So if you're watching this, please, I would be eternally grateful. But this is a pirate slash romance slash fantasy novel. I even had coffee. I should talk better than this. Which technically this is a romantasy, and that is definitely my favorite genre out there. There's also plot twists. There's also things you're trying to figure out. Obviously, I can't really tell you much about this book in particular because it would definitely spoil it. But in book 1, we have our main character that was abandoned by her father, and she was living in this not great orphanage. And then her brother had left years prior and said, I am going to go and establish myself somewhere else. When I am ready, I will come and get you. Obviously, they have to board a ship because this is not present day. And they end up getting attacked by pirates. And that is actually our main character. But at the start, you think that he is just like a terrible, horrible guy, which I was still enjoying. Which, you know, might be a sign that I need some therapy. I don't know. But he ends up trying to steal them for what they're worth, but he's willing to pay them back for the goods that he is taking. Which you will learn later why he does that, but there's just so much intrigue with him and you just have no idea what his story is. So then a big storm overcomes both of their ships, and the ship that our main character was on ends up sinking. So she boards the ship with the pirate, her and her whole crew, and they have to live together with the man who was stealing from them. So, you know, definitely some enemies to lovers going on. Then things just keep on getting worse. They end up going to this abandoned island, which is called Avigdor, and they end up having to survive on this island. And there is these creatures called the Ancients, which are basically like dinosaurs. There is just animals that are like prehistoric, basically, ready to eat everyone on this island. So yeah, they're trying to discover, is there people on this island? What are we gonna do to get off this island? Because they need supplies to build their ship. And obviously they form a bond with the two of them. There's a lot of exploring the jungles. I love the combination though of having the fantasy elements with the mystery elements with the romance, which literally is the best combination. If you have recommendations for that with your clean books, I would take all of them and I would have the best time ever reading them. I don't know what else I was gonna say. I guess it can't be that important. This is like the 3rd time I've tried to film this. Apparently my brain is functioning, but my mouth can't work. But what I was gonna say is that this series is the perfect combination of the Pirates of the Caribbean, Jurassic Park, and I would even say Avatar a little bit. I'm not gonna say why because that would be a spoiler, but just trust me, I think it's those 3 things combined. So yeah, if you like any one of those, but emphasis on Pirates of the Caribbean and Jurassic Park, definitely read this book. So I did really enjoy reading the sequel to the series, and I would definitely highly recommend this whole series. So then when the next book comes out, you'll have already read the first 2 and you'll be caught up to obsess over it with me. So the next book that I read is The Lovely and the Lost by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and I had not seen a single person talk about this book before because we all know about her Inheritance Game series, and yes, I'm one of the people that lost their mind reading that, and it's probably my favorite, one of my favorite series ever. I cannot say my favorite because that is just way too much pressure for me, but yeah, so we know her as an author, but I feel like this book is never talked about. But I was one day on Book Outlet shopping because I cannot say no to a book deal. And I found this there and I was like, you know what, I'm going to try it out. And I'm really, really glad I did, because the premise of this book is that our main character was lost in the woods, abandoned by her mother, and then this woman takes her in. This woman does search and rescue dogs. So our main character, what was her name? Basically, when I closed the book and it wasn't like one of my favorite, then the files of the characters' names in my brain just fly out. Her name is Kira. They get a call that there is a girl that is missing in the woods, and they're going to go there and try to help and find this girl with their dogs, etc. But obviously this is very hard for our main character, Kira, because that is who she was, and it just brings up a lot of horrible memories. She still is not like fully acclimatized to living in the real world, but she's determined to find this girl anyway. So then our main character, her brother, and her best friend go with their mother to this place where this girl is missing, and they meet another guy there, which I truly thought was going to be a romance. It really wasn't, which to me just seemed like breaking the rules. Like, you know, to me, if there's two people, if there's a boy and a girl of like the same age, you know, there should be romance in there, but I still enjoyed it nonetheless. Basically, they end up in a cave. They end up exploring all over this mountain, because basically there has been multiple people that have gone missing on the same mountain, including this guy that I thought she should end up with, but hey, I'm not the author. His brother also went missing, and so he is trying to figure out what happened to his brother. So there's also that side storyline. We're trying to figure out what happened to this girl, what happened to this guy, what is happening, why is this mountain notorious for having people go missing. I'm not gonna say that it was some amazing spellbinding book, because it wasn't, but I have never read a book with the search and rescue aspect, and I really, really enjoyed it. It was like the dogs were actual characters in the book, and I almost cried at the end over the dogs. That just shows you how important they are in this book. But yeah, I would highly recommend it if you like, I think this is young adult, I'm not sure, but if you like thrillers, it was more like a mystery book, but if you like her as an author, I would definitely check this out, because I want to read like all the books that she comes up with. I'm still working on the rest of the Inheritance Game series. Can we stop production on all of the exact same book, just copy and pasted with different colors of covers? I would say it's like 3 stars. Will I think about it a bunch? No. So, sorry about that. Okay, so the next book I read was A Murder in Paris, and this was the first book that I read in one of my videos. Basically, this book has like 3 different timelines. The one timeline is present day, where our main character gets a call from someone from a very fancy hotel in Paris saying that your grandmother is here, and she's saying that she has, I don't know if I can say the word on here, somebody. And they're like, can you come get your grandmother? Because she's probably just someone who has dementia and does not really know what they're saying anymore. But like, can you please do something with her, because she just showed up at this hotel randomly. So she has to end up going to Paris and trying to figure out if her grandmother did in fact do this or not. The second timeline is in the past, and it is right after World War II, and it deals with the Holocaust survivors. So if you don't want to read about that, that is a major part of this book, which there is not a single word in the description of this book that says that is in there. So no, going in, I had absolutely zero idea. I just thought it was, you know, a thriller. 2 women checked in, only 1 checked out, you know, but it's actually really deep and way more serious than that. So I would have liked to have at least 1 sentence warning you about that. So our main character's grandmother was a Holocaust survivor, and we see her coming back from the camps into this fancy hotel and trying to then end up into society. And then I think the third timeline is like a year before present day, I think. So as our main character digs into this more and more, she realizes that the room that her grandmother stayed in this fancy hotel right after the war, only 1 woman lived to tell the tale. She ends up finding that her grandmother had her name changed, and there's just a lot of secrets and a lot of stuff going on around her grandmother's life in the past. And she starts to realize, maybe she's actually not lying. Dun dun dun. Then you start connecting the dots of somebody that was, say, in the past that's now in the present. Then someone ends up, again, having that happen. and then she's trying to figure out who did that. I feel like my mind's in a pretzel. I don't know about yours. I just had to keep reading. I think I read it in like 2 days, so probably close to like 24 hours. I had to know what happened. Sounds like the stuff of horror movies. This is a description about his other novel, Anna O. And I can't read horror things, so I'd probably not be able to go to sleep at night. Oh well, we'll see. I'll probably read that in a video and we can see how terrified I get. Sounds fun. Okay, now we are getting the Kindle out. So then I read After the Leaves Fell. I will put a picture up because the cover is so beautiful, but on here I don't have the fancy Kindle. It's just black and white, so it's really ugly. This is a hockey romance fall book. There's like a little bit of suspense in there near the end. Actually, no, there's a little bit of suspense kind of throughout the whole thing. And if I had to sum up fall in a book, it would be this book. We're gonna read one book this fall. Please read. I have a different cover. I can't pull it up. Please read this book because I loved it. Obviously, fall was definitely a major part of the book, but it wasn't like she shoved it in your face every second. There would just be like little sentences here and there about the fall weather, the leaves changing. It was just very atmospheric. That's the word I definitely should have tried to find sooner, was atmospheric. But yeah, even the title called After the Leaves Fell, I think that's what it's called. I cannot get this title through my head for the life of me. And I've said it about 20 times. Yeah, After the Leaves Fell. But I never really explained the point of the book. I just started ranting about how I loved it and how much I love fall in a book. Basically, our female main character's family has just completely went down the drain. Her brother left them, and she feels like it's her responsibility to try and get them all back together and to heal their family. And she ends up getting a call from her brother that abandoned them for years. I don't know if I just said that. I literally just said it and I can't remember. He really needs her help because he just got a cancer diagnosis and he needs people to drive him to his treatments and stuff. So if that is something that you don't want to read about, that is definitely another big part of the book. I'm pretty sure the author actually says that at the beginning, so thank you for that. So then, as she's going to the airport, she runs into our main male character who thinks that she is a crazy fan because he's had terrible fan encounters in the past because he is a famous NHL hockey player. And he gets all angry at her. He completely yells at her, like, get away from me, you're psycho. And she's like, what did I ever do to you? Like, both of our characters can get mad, especially our female main character. She's definitely grumpy. And so they both just, like, got their backs up like cats in a fight. And then it gets better for her because her brother ends up living with this hockey player. And of course, she has to see her brother, so she has to see him. So there's, like, forced proximity. There's a lot of drama that comes from that, as you would expect. I love hockey romances in the first place, but this one just made it so much more better. There was so much depth. There were so many quotes that I could have highlighted in here that I'm not going to bore you with them now. I definitely said some in my reading vlog, my reading fall books for a week, the one before this one. If you want to go check it out, I'll probably try and figure out how to put it as the video that you can watch at the end of this one, you know, everyone's yapping about like, subscribe, and then a video pops up, you know? So yeah, you basically have her constantly being like, no, I do not want to be in a relationship with you because everybody in my life leaves me, everyone abandons me, I cannot get attached. And you constantly have him pursuing her and not taking no for an answer in a very, very gentlemanly way. I don't know how to describe it, but like he wasn't rude about it. He wasn't forceful in a bad way. He made sure that she knew how much he felt about her and that he was not going to go anywhere. And it was just, I really love the characters a lot. It was another 5-star read. I would highly, highly recommend it. And the last book that I read in my fall reading video was The Day of the Dice. This is a dystopian Pride and Prejudice with, again, some mystery in there that you're trying to figure out, which I will say it again, I love mystery in books. It's the best. It's also compared to The Hunger Games, and I can definitely see a lot of similarities. So, you know, that's all you really need to know to read this book. I could just, you know, move on, but I'm not going to do that. Again, couldn't tell you her name. Basically, Elise is a part of the last 10 families in the entire world. The world is, like, trashed. People have trashed the world, and now there's only 10 families left. Or so they think. To ensure the fairness that each family gets to continue on with generations to come, there is what is called the Day of the Dice, where once they become a certain age, a boy and a girl, they are paired off with each other and are forced to marry and have children. And the girls don't even get to pick who they end up with, which is just so many levels of wrong. So then the girls each stand on one of these wooden crates that are numbered, and the boys each get to roll a dice. If they land on the number of the girl they want, they get to keep her. That's literally it. Another boy could challenge and say, no, I want her. They can fight over a girl. I feel like in the wild, I feel like every animal fights for a female. That's basically what they could do here, but not actually physical fighting. They would just, I honestly don't know. They like roll the dice and have a challenge. I don't know, it's so dumb. You are forced to, live in a house, have children, put your little happy face on when there's nothing to be happy about. Our female main character is about to be casted because the casting age was lowered. Very convenient. There is a guy from one of the more important families who starts taking an interest in her, and she had in the past heard him talking really, really badly about her. So she's like, no, you do not like me. Just quit the garbage, because Elise does not know who her father is. And in this, your father is everything, clearly. They start forming a relationship. So again, enemies to lovers as well. And I'm sure that's how Pride and Prejudice is. I really should get on watching that. Someone please convince me somehow. I don't know. Say it has a little mystery in it. I don't know. So then the bomb drops that there is actually other people out there, but the great leader of this town is keeping that information away from everyone. Aren't you just seeing what a great guy he is? I just loved him. I'd say like 4 stars. My dog just jumped. I ended up reading Renegades. This is a sci-fi romantasy trilogy where they're throwing all these names at you, and I'm just like trying to catch them all and, not get hit in the head. Basically, we have the people called the Renegades. These are the people who have powers. So there's like so many to pick from. Can I just think of one? You can like control bees. You can draw things and they come to life. You can disappear. You can control water, that kind of stuff. You're gonna have to have your thinking cap on for a good bit of this book. So if you don't like that, maybe just save this for when your brain is fully turned on, because this book ends on a major cliffhanger. So just be aware of that as well. But the whole trilogy is out, so you can sit and binge it. You don't have to sit and wait. So basically, we have these 2 groups of people, the Renegades and the Anarchists. And the Renegades in the past defeated these Anarchists and made their own government. And obviously, the Anarchists are not pleased. And that is where our main character, Nova, is. So she decides to enter this competition where the Renegades will decide who will be able to become a member by showcasing their power that they can do, and then they can decide. So Nova goes into this fake identity to try and infiltrate the Renegades base. And also Adrian has a second identity as well. They're both falling for each other, and obviously Nova is like, no, you are disgusting to me. Why do I like you? Basically is how she feels for him in this book. And, she starts not fully trying to defeat them anymore. And, you have her fighting with herself over what she's going to do. But there was found family in this that I really did enjoy. But I would say this is a good 4 star as well. The last book that I read this month was Song of the Valley, which I will put here. This is a Christian enemies to lovers romance book, which takes place in the country on a ranch in Montana. It's like you were there in the landscape in the mountains. So I love this author. She does an amazing job, and I want to read everything that she's ever written. So basically our main character, Samantha, her father, ended up passing away because of a horse accident. And the family who sold him that horse is none other than their next door neighbor and the guy that she ended up liking, which is our main male character named Caleb. She comes back years later. She is determined to go off to Europe to do her nonprofit work, and she absolutely despises him. I don't want to have any part to do with you. Please just leave me alone this summer, because she overheard Caleb and his dad talking about how the horse should not have been sold. It was not ready, and she thinks that basically Caleb is the reason why her dad is not there anymore. Now, the problem that I had with this book is that once she realizes he is not at fault for the accident, once she realizes that, she still doesn't like him. She's still like, no, I cannot be with you. You're like dirt to me, basically. And I was like, clearly you like him. I don't think you're gonna like dirt, so I think you like him. And let's try and move on. And I just feel like for so much of the book, she was so rude to him. He does so much for her, and she basically just says no and slaps him in the face. She doesn't actually slap him, shocking. If you're just gonna be rude to a guy for no reason, I don't like it. But the writing and the premise and the storyline was still really good. I definitely enjoyed it. I just couldn't really get behind them when she was just horrible. Oh, someone else is joining us. Very nice. I'm gonna read you one of the quotes. Just one quote from this book. You know, when books are considered enemies to lovers, which I don't even like that saying because in a book that's not fantasy, because usually it's just like, oh, you spilled coffee on me, I hate you, you're my enemy kind of thing. Okay, so he says, and don't go around flashing those green eyes of yours at me either. And she says, and what's wrong with my eyes? And he says, nothing at all. They just always look like two emerald flames a man could burn up in eyes like yours, and I prefer to stay clear of their fire. And I literally made a note and I said, no, for sure that's how you speak to your enemy, in her quotes, because I don't think that's how it works. But I love the Christian aspect in here. And there's also forest. Sounds like I'm saying a forest. There's forest proximity. And there's also forced proximity because Caleb has this nonprofit that he runs at his ranch where he will have troubled kids come. And since she majored in nonprofit work, then she's like, you know what? Again, don't like you, but I will help make this nonprofit a lot better. Because the audacity to say he'll drive her home when her truck breaks down. I mean, can you imagine? That's just so bad. At least that's how she takes it. 100% recommend this series. And I think it was really just my problem with me not appreciating the couple together. And I don't want to say anything bad about this author because I love her books. I just think that I'm gonna like the rest of the series a lot more than this because she has 3 older brothers. I'm assuming there's a lot of, and she also has a best friend, so there's definitely a lot of potential here. Okay, so those are the books that I read in September. I don't know how long this clip is. I was determined to just sit and talk to the camera and not have a million different separate clips to have to export. So me editing this, I hope you're grateful. Yeah, this month was so fun with filming and with all the books that I read. I would love to have another month like it. I had the best month because I found like a new favorite book. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, you could always give it a like, and if you want to see more, you could always subscribe. But I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye. This hurts me more than it hurts you. Yeah, lay with my dog. There you go. That I thought she should, and I cannot talk. I need some coffee. I feel like my sleeves aren't long enough. I like smash my head with a sledgehammer when I say that.